So I was just getting into the flow when I was walking and talking just now, but then the battery ran out because I'm very disorganized. But I thought I would just quickly follow up while I am in the mood. I was talking about Cambridge Ahead, and on the subject of all the wealth that there is in Cambridge. So this magazine I found, and I just thought I would bring something to your attention. This is called IQ, Sharing Business Intelligence in Cambridgeshire and Suffolk. Okay, this is one of those free magazines that they produce when they're kind of like bigging up all the high-tech, scientific breakthroughs. So, for example, this is the sort of thing which goes on in Cambridge. This is a international conference. This is a picture of an international conference. Yeah. This is the sort of thing that they talk about in Cambridge. Imagine being in a conference where the guy at the front is showing you a picture that looks like this. It looks like something out of a science fiction movie. But this is what's happening. And, you've got these kind of conferences where there's an award-winning lab. Very science fiction-y. Very, very high tech. Lots of money involved. And it's worth looking at these magazines every so often. This is produced by the same company that produces the Cambridge Independent. It's called iLife Media, ILIFFE. If I can find there, look here, iLife Media. They kind of manage several publications. I think here, iLife. There's their logo. They do a lot of magazines, and they also produce the Cambridge Independent. And in this case, they're talking about the big business scientific developments of Cambridge. And I only picked this up and decided to stash it away because there's a good piece in here, that kind of shows you all of the wealth, the sort of scale of wealth that there is here in Cambridge, which I just find you need to kind of see the proportionate, put it in context when you're living down here on the ground. This is Shelford High Street, very lovely little village. But just look at the state of the roads and all the potholes and the fact that the services are straining and buckling without enough money. So here is the top 100 companies in Cambridgeshire. Here's the list. You might recognise some of these names. You've got Bidwell's. Let's see, Cambridge Commodities Holding. Buffaloed. I recognise that name. Anyway, now you have over here, you've got the 50 fastest growing businesses. These ones are all on the way up. And here you have top 25 international companies. So these are all very big. Look, Abcam, very wealthy company here. And this graph shows you where in the Shire these companies are actually located. Excuse me a minute. Just trying to get some good light here. So the number of companies here, I believe, are dispersed around the whole county: Cambridge, Peterborough, Huntingdon, Wisbech, etc. St Ives. There's even a couple in Chatteris here. So 32 of these top 100 companies. I think it must be, because 32 plus 30 plus 13, 8, 6, 8 must equal 100. So out of all of these, 32 are in Cambridge itself. And here's the turnover of each of these companies, or collectively, I mean. And just in Cambridge alone, you have a turnover of 1.94 billion, you know. And out of the whole thing, then you got 1.93 billion in Peterborough, and then shared out around the rest of the county. So you can see how much money there is actually. This is turnover, of course. It's not profit, but the profit must be huge, because now you have a list of the most profitable companies. The 50 most profitable companies in Cambridge. Bidwell's, again. All of these. Brookgate. These are just, I'm just pointing out the names that I am recognising now after the, things that I've learned. And not just through the Cambridge Cracker experience, but from my job, from my shop. And I'm part of the bid area, the Cambridge bid, of which Brookgate is actually sitting on the board. And just comparing these kind of numbers, 1.94 billion, to the sort of numbers that you need to run the infrastructure of this county. And if we reference and compare it back, I just want to get somewhere where with a good light. If you compare these kind of a scale of economy like this, compare it to what they were proposing back in 2022 and 23, when they were trying to make everybody pay a congestion charge so that they could afford a bus network which actually ran. And now the mayor has just signed off on the franchising of the bus network, yet they still don't know how they're going to pay for it. And it's just interesting, it's just important to notice how wealthy of a town Cambridge actually is. And really, I don't know how you would actually achieve this, but if you could compel, I'm sure that these companies do pay a lot of taxes already, but if you could compel them to pay some sort of levy, the same way that the bid compels its businesses to pay a levy. I'm a levy payer, and you're forced to pay the levy. It's not an option, you have to pay it by law. If you try to not pay it, they take you to court. This is experience I've actually got. Now the levy's only small, it's 1% or 1.25% of your rateable value, which is based on your business rates. But where you are, my shop is in the bid area. Here's the bid area. My shop is in it, and because my shop is in it, I have to pay. I'm compelled to pay 1.25% of my rateable value. It comes out at about 500 odd pounds. I'm one of the smaller levy payers, but then you have larger levy payers. Now the point I'm making is there's a fuck ton of money being made in Cambridge. Cambridge is an extraordinarily lucrative, Cambridgeshire is an extraordinarily lucrative area of the world. And it is it's worth knowing that whenever anybody tells you that we can't afford things like buses or fixing up the potholes and things like that. And if you ever, hang on, come on baby, the dog always tries to eat the cat food. So if you are ever told by those in charge that there isn't enough money or that we don't have it in the budget, it's not necessarily that they're lying, it's just that if you then start to kind of tug on that thread, where is the money going? Why isn't there enough money for basic services when there's all of this money being made? Those are the sort of, for me, those are the sort of things that are important. Those are the sort of things that I would like the mayor to kind of address, or these are the sort of things that I would like the county council to be really open and honest about. They're not, but the amount of money that's going around in Cambridge is mind-boggling. And when you actually kind of compare it to the living experience of just ordinary folks, taxpayers, business owners, people who have to work to make their living and make ends meet and struggle to do so, when their lives are kind of beset by a crumbling infrastructure, and you have all of these lying politicians all the time telling us that there isn't enough money and that we're going bankrupt and all this sort of thing, it becomes scandalous. Not only is it mind-boggling, but it is a bit of a scandal how much money is going to various places in this town, but not where it really needs to be spent. That's my opinion. I think that to me that's always the crux of the issue. You've got the money, you're just not spending it properly, and more often than not you're spending it on layers of administration, each one with a higher salary than the one below it, up until the point when you have people like Peter Blake, the director of the GCP, on like 160,000 a year or something like that. You know, it's crazy, and it's not fair, it's not right. It could be so much better, but you would really need somebody or a political will with like extraordinary, like you need to be really, really tough on these people to be able to firstly get the mandate, and then to go head to head with them, like in the boardrooms, in the committee meetings, passing the motion saying we are going to reorganise this whole structure so that it's more efficient and more effective, more cost effective, providing better value for money for the residents who it's supposed to serve. You know, this is not rocket science, this is just the sort of thing that I think. So anyway, there was that. Alright, that I wanted to draw your attention to. Cambridge is a very, very wealthy city with some of the wealthiest companies in the world. And now, if I may just quickly point out a couple of things where I'm at with things. This is my desk, so you see the sort of, this is how I have to work. This is a very old, antiquated computer. It does not have an internet connection. When I make the videos, this strains, this buckles and strains, and it crashes often. So making a video is very, very tedious and time consuming. Here is a lot of writings that I've done. These are all my writings going all the way back to when I was like 18. I started collecting these things. You can see they're all full of works, and this is the most latest one, I think. So yeah, this is where I start getting involved with the congestion charge. These are all my notes as I started, you know, mixing and mingling with all the people who were telling me stuff about how Cambridge really works, you know. And I'm only showing you this to give you a little bit of an insight. This is the stack of material which I gathered over the congestion charge campaign period. You know what I mean? All of this has to be gone through and sorted. And then there's this. This is the Freedom of Information disclosure that they gave me. Alright? And this is only what is already printed out. I've got so much more here on this and stashed on this laptop, which is, you know, even more than this. So you can see why I've been so reluctant to get started actually writing the next book, because I've sort of buried myself and tied myself up, painted myself into a corner, as it were. How to actually make this all this information accessible and digestible, because I'm struggling with it. I've got to be completely honest with you. And I have a job, and I have other things that I need to do on a daily basis, which stop me from actually just sitting down and doing it. So anyway, there you are. That was just, I just wanted to share that with you, because you know, this is what I'm going through, what I have to sort of deal with, and where this is leading towards. I want to start doing more coverage of the election which is coming up, I'm hoping to have an interview with Paul Bristow. I would love to have an interview with Paul Bristow, and I have to have an interview with all the candidates for mayor. You know, you got Lorna Dupre from the Liberal Dems. If she will go for it, I don't know. Hey, hey, come out. Out. I don't know who Labour is putting up in place of Nick Johnson, and I don't know if the Greens are. Are the Greens putting up somebody? I don't know yet. I've heard that Reform are going to start getting involved in Cambridge, or they already have, but I don't know anything about it. But we'll see. We'll see, won't we? If they will have me, if they will let me interview them, if they want to be on camera, if they want to go on. You know, it's all useful, it's all important, it's all relevant. It's to help people make up their minds, to help people know which way they want to vote. To me, it's very clear, but that's just because I've gone through all of this for the last 2 years. Essentially, you've got a coalition of Liberal Democrat and Labour who have been controlling the county council for a while, and the Greater Cambridge Partnership wanting to close roads, make a congestion charge, all sorts of things. They want to plough through the Coton Orchard, they want to cut through the green belt, they want to help the university and the biomedical campus expand, they want to help the central government kind of build Cambridge into a super modern science fiction hub. I'm sure that the Conservatives probably want to do that as well, but they're cashing in on the opportunity to be the opposition to that, which is to hopefully have a light rail infrastructure made more effective, more efficient, and because they're Conservatives, they're Tories, I should hope that they would be a little bit more, they would have the kind of traditional values that people, you know, still adhere to. We don't want to destroy the countryside, we don't want to have like rampant development without proper, adequate infrastructure for all the houses which are being built. And one would hope that in people paying attention to what their decision makers are actually doing, and they could actually feed back into them and say what is important to them, what parts of Cambridge they want to protect and preserve, which parts of it they're happy to change, and which parts of it they think they agree need to be developed, but can we develop it in a way which is not injurious or destructive. These are just my thoughts. This is just my point of view. Alright, so what do you want me to say? Let me just spin round. There you go. I did one turn on the camera for you there. So that is me again, talking nonsense, and take it or leave it, babe.